Artists are going to get us out of this terrible time that we're in. I believe it's going to be artists because it's definitely not journalism right now for the most part. Because, as you know, you mentioned in the run-up to when you were introducing me, a lot of folks are bending the knee. Artists don't do that.
Hey guys, so Don Lemon went on MSNBC to do his favorite thing, which is to bloviate about how Trump is this incredible threat to our democracy and to the arts and to real journalism of the sort that Don Lemon produces. So let's hear his complaints.
So art is artists like the fire. It makes them better. And so Donald Trump thinks that he's, helping or he's changing or whatever he thinks that he's doing with artists, but he's actually helping them in a sense to become better artists. This is this is art in itself, what Donald Trump is doing. It is performance art, bad performance art, that he's going to get roasted by artists, whether it's rappers, whether it's painters, whether it's photographers or whatever it is. Artists are going to get us out of this terrible time that we're in. I believe it's going to be artists because it's definitely not journalism right now for the most part. Because, as you know, you mentioned in the run-up to when you were introducing me, a lot of folks are bending the knee. Artists don't do that. They do what Amy Sherrill did, and they say, you're not changing my art. It's for consumption of people, it's not about perfection of what you want.
Well, you make it interesting.
Okay, so Don Lemon is referencing Amy Sherrill, who is this artist that pulled her art from the Smithsonian after Trump announced his administration was going to review the exhibits. Now, what exactly did Amy Sherrill's show consist of? Well, one painting was a black trans Statue of Liberty. So this is the kind of art that we're going to miss out on because of Trump. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you. But Don Lemon's contention is that there's going to be this cultural renaissance among basically the left, among resistance libs, in response to Donald Trump's administration. And to that I say, well, great, where is it? I mean, they had an entire first administration to come up with their great novel or movie or song or whatever. There's plenty of roads you could go down. And the best they could do were Pink Hats, The Handmaid's Tale, and some pretty lousy late night bits. Although that might just be the style of late night, I don't know, because they didn't let up with the corniness and the unfunniness all through the Biden administration as well. So I'm eagerly awaiting this rebirth of art that Don Lemon is anticipating, but I really doubt that that's going to happen.
Point that by being so invasive and Trump using big federal government power to go into these places, it puts more people in that decision of, hey, the old book, you can't be neutral on a moving train.
Right.
To be quiet and just go along with, say, a campus, a college, or an institution, a museum, saying, hey, we like some of this. We're just going to remove the parts of your statement that offend the current government. Yeah. That's not America, and that's not something I think a lot of artists want to be neutral on. I'll show you some of these headlines. Trump says Gayle King's career is over.
Yeah. Trump wants to be friends with Gayle King. He wants to be friends with Oprah. He wants to be friends with all celebrities.
Kimmel, all these headlines. What do you see here and what's animating what is clearly a personal vendetta?
Well, he feels, somehow spited or slighted, I should say, by celebrity and by his once liberal friends who he loved hanging out with, who he invited to his multiple weddings and different babies' mamas. And so he feels slighted by that. So this is a revenge tour. It's nothing more than that. And look, people, I don't have very many positive things, if any at all, to say about Donald Trump. And I've interviewed him 6-8 times, maybe more. He would call in from, when I was on CNN, he'd call in, I don't know where he was, in the bed, the toilet, whatever he was, seriously. And he would just call in and talk and ramble and rant. And so I don't have very many positive things to say about him because there aren't really any positive things to say about him. What he's doing is objectively bad for the world, is objectively bad for our democracy, and it should be called as such. There should not be false equivalence with anything that Donald Trump does because he doesn't play by the rules. He's not fair. Look what he's trying to do. We mentioned with the arts. Look what he's trying to do around the country. He's trying to steal elections right now.
Yeah.
So what Don Lemon is trying to say here, I think, is that Donald Trump isn't playing by our rules that we constructed so that Republicans always lose. And that's not fair. Well, no, he's not playing some sort of Mitt Romney game of respectability, moderate Republican politics. He's playing to win, and he did win twice. Now, I really don't know what Don Lemon means by objectively bad, because it seems like any moral framework has to be built on some sort of assumption. So what is Don Lemon building from? He hasn't told us. I mean, he is on MSNBC, so it's probably a fair assumption that the audience shares all of his philosophical priors about what's good and what's bad and what's evil and our democracy and all these things. But it's just intellectually lazy, which I guess is fitting for this channel. So maybe I shouldn't complain about that. That's totally in keeping with the tone of MSNBC.
They're trying to rewrite the rules.
People are pretending as if this is something that's normal, and they're treating it like, oh, well, let's have a conversation about this. No, what he's doing is bad. This is not a census year. This should not be happening. He should not be calling governors to try to, because he's afraid of losing the midterms, to try to steer elections in a certain direction.
Yeah, and as you say, we're in a society right now where the incumbent government says, well, if we're going to lose power in a free and fair election, then let's not have one.
Right.
Let's have an unfair election. Let's change the rules. As for late night, I'll show how some of this is playing out. Let's take a look.
After naming himself chairman of the Kennedy Center, today, President Trump announced this year's honorees. Trump said he picked Kiss because they're one of the greatest rock and roll bands of all time, and also because they wear as much makeup as he does.
Yeah, give him something stupid to do to keep him out of trouble. Hosting award shows is what he envisioned being president is in the first place.
He could be the host at Applebee's, anything that distracts him from running this country into the ground.
This is
Told you.
Yeah, I mean, this is the back and forth, and this is what the country.
Are they actually laughing at this? I mean, is this tell me what you think. Is this a fake laugh from Don Lemon, or is this a real laugh? I mean, has he actually managed to brainwash himself into finding late night TV funny? It's amazing to me. It's possible. It's very sad. I wouldn't want to go inside his brain. But it's so absurd to hear these people complain about government censorship and the government cracking down on what you can say and do and controlling institutions. It's basically just a temper tantrum, because for a very long time, liberals had assumed more or less total control of the institutions, and so they began to take that for granted, that their radical ideas were normal, that normal ideas were radical and to be shunned, and that if you suggested them, you were no longer a decent member of society. So if people like this are upset that a little bit of moderation is coming to the Smithsonian, that no, we're not going to have a trans Statue of Liberty, actually that's total garbage and adds no value to our country, then so much the better, is my opinion.
Country's experiencing, and his approval is sinking. I mean, there's no evidence that people want this.
Look, whether you think that, I don't know, art or politics is downstream from culture, or culture is downstream from politics, Donald Trump is losing by every single measure. He's underwater 68 points with black people. He's underwater 43 points with Hispanic. He's even underwater 5 points with white voters. And brand new Pew Research polling shows that he has a 38% approval rating and a 60% disapproval rating. Now, he's still president of the United States.
Yeah.
Elections have consequences. We just have to buckle up and figure out how to get through the next couple of years so that maybe some semblance of democracy can be brought back to America and really to the world, because we're.
And when he says democracy, again, I'll translate this for you, he means doing things the way we want to do things. So democracy is just a stand-in for, let's say, gay weddings, transing the kids, abortion on demand, etc., etc., etc. All these things make up the core pillars of our democracy. That's my interpretation of what Don Lemon is saying here. But what do you think? Is our democracy in danger? Is it in peril? Are you worried? Let me know in the comment section below. Give this video a like, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.